Welcome back to another ukulele tutorial. You all provided so much positive feedback on the first lesson that I did on easy two-chord songs that I decided to do another one. So in this lesson, we're looking at 3 more easy two-chord songs. We'll start off in the 70s with Dreams, which was a hit by Fleetwood Mac. Then we'll go back to the 50s for Singin In The Rain, which Gene Kelly sang in the movie Singin In The Rain. Then we'll go back to the 70s for Horse With No Name, which was a hit by America. We're going to cover 2 different patterns that you can use for each of these 3 songs. Throughout this lesson, you'll find the patterns, chords, and lyrics on screen. You can also download them as a PDF from my Patreon page, and you'll find the link down below in the video description. I'm also going to put links to each of these 3 recordings in the description because it's very helpful to listen to the songs as you're learning them. I want to point out that I'm playing a tenor with a low G. If you have a high G, you can follow this entire tutorial. Just keep in mind that our chords will sound slightly different because your 4th string is 1 octave higher than mine. Now let's get started with our first song, which is Dreams. The 2 chords used in this song are F and G. Let's take a look at how to play these chords and the 2 patterns that we'll use to play the song. Our first chord for the song Dreams is our F chord. I'm playing F with my index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Our second chord in Dreams is our G chord. I'm playing G with my index and middle fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 1 and 3, and my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. There's no special trick to transitioning back and forth between our F and G chords. It just takes some time and practice for your left hand to build the muscle memory to learn these chords. So take it nice and slow as you learn your F and G chords. And as you practice transitioning back and forth, eventually you'll be able to make these chord changes faster. Our first pattern for this song will be a down strum on the 1st and 3rd of every 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. For these strumming patterns, you can use your index finger or your thumb for strumming, whichever you're most comfortable with. As we look at the chord progression in this song, we're going to go back and forth between F and G for the entire song, playing our pattern once on each chord. So we'll play 2 down strums on F, and then 2 down strums on G. And that will repeat for the entire song. Now let's take a look at verse 1. I'm going to play through this verse, adding in the lyrics using this first strumming pattern, alternating between F and G, starting on F. Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? It's only right that you should play the way you feel it, but listen carefully to the sound of your loneliness, like a heartbeat drives you mad in the stillness of remembering what you had and what you lost and what you had and what you lost. For our second strumming pattern, we're going to do a down strum on all 4 beats. This gives a nice rhythm to the chorus of this song, although if you'd like, you can also use it on the verses. Now let's take a look at the chorus of this song. Applying our second pattern, we'll do 4 down strums on every chord change, alternating between F and G, starting on F. Oh, thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. They say women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know. You'll know. Now we've covered how to play verse 1 and the chorus of Dreams. For the remainder of the song, you'll continue alternating between F and G. The second verse is played the same way as the first, and there are 2 more choruses played the same way as the first chorus. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a like, and thank you for subscribing. Now we're going to move into our second song, which is Singin' in the Rain. This song uses the chords C and G7. So let's take a close look at these and the patterns that we'll use for this song. For Singing in the Rain, we're going to our C and G7 chords. So we're playing C with our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And then for G7, we're going to slide it back to the 2nd fret, placing down our index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. We're going to use our ring finger to transition between these 2 chords. If you prefer to use your pinky to play your C chord, then you'll lift up your other fingers, and when you go to G7, you'll place down your index, middle, and ring fingers. Let's take a look at the introduction of this song. We're going to use our first pattern, playing the 1st and 3rd of every 4 beats. On each line of the introduction, we'll play our pattern twice, so a total of 4 down strums. We'll start off on our C chord on line 1, and then alternate between C and G7 on each line. Do do loo, do 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 loo, do 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 loo, do 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 loo, do 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 do. Verses 1 and 2 use the same chord progressions. We'll use either of our strumming patterns 4 times on each of the 4 lines. For line 1, we'll play our patterns 4 times on C. For line 2, twice on C and twice on G7. For line 3, 4 times on G7. And for line 4, twice on G7 and twice on C. Now I'll play through verse 1 using the first strumming pattern, starting on our C chord. I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart, and I'm ready for love. Now let's look at our second strumming pattern. Here we're playing a down strum on all 4 beats. I'm going to play through verse 2, adding in the lyrics using the second pattern, starting on our C chord. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I'll walk down the lane with a Our third verse is only 3 lines rather than 4. You can look at it as if the third line of verses 1 and 2 were taken away. So for verse 3, we're going to play either of our patterns 4 times on our C chord on line 1. And then on line 2, we'll play our patterns twice on C and twice on G7. And for finishing up the song on line 3, we'll play our patterns twice on G7 and then twice on C. Here's how it looks to play verse 3 using our first strumming pattern. Dancing in the rain, dee-ya, 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 dee-ya. I'm happy again, I'm singing and dancing in the rain. Now we're moving into our third song, which is Horse with No Name. The 2 chords in this song are a bit more difficult than the other chords that we've covered so far in this lesson. However, I'm going to give you an easy shortcut as an alternative while you're learning these 2 chords. Let's take a close look. The first of our 2 chords for Horse with No Name is E minor. To play this chord, I have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and my ring finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Our second chord is F sharp minor. This chord uses the same fingering as G7. We're just going to move our G7 chord shape up 1 string. So I have my index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string and my middle and ring fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 2 and 4. These 2 chords are a bit more difficult than the other chords we've covered in this lesson, and there is no trick to transitioning between them. It just takes time and practice for your left hand to build the muscle memory to play these chords. So you can practice slowly going back and forth until it becomes more comfortable. We'll take a look at how to apply these chords to the song, but first I do want to show you an easier way that you can play this song while you're in the process of learning your E minor and F sharp minor chords. And this easier method is to only play strings 1 and 2 rather than all 4 strings. To do this, the fingerings are much more simple. I'm starting with my index and middle fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 1 and 2, and my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. For this fingering, if we play strings 1 and 2, we're playing part of our E minor chord. If we lift up our ring finger and middle finger so that we only have our index finger down and play strings 1 and 2, we're playing part of our F sharp minor chord. So this is a much easier way that we can go back and forth between these 2 chords. For my right hand, I have my middle finger on the 1st string and my index finger on the 2nd string. I'm going to pull outwards on both strings at the same time. So here's an easier way that you can play this song while you're practicing your full E minor and F sharp minor chords. Taking a look at the song, we're going to alternate between E minor and F sharp minor, playing any of our patterns once on every chord change through the entire song. I'm going to start by playing the first 4 lines of verse 1 using our first strumming pattern, where we do 1 down strum on the 1st and 3rd of every 4 beats. On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. For the second half of verse 1, I'm going to use our easier method of playing only strings 1 and 2. The rhythm and pattern will be the same here, playing strings 1 and 2 on the first and third of every 4 beats. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz, and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. Now we're moving into the chorus with a slightly different pattern. We're adding in a down strum on the second beat, so we'll play down strums on beats 1, 2, and 3. Here's what the rhythm looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of the song and alternating between our 2 chords will sound like this. Now I'll play through the chorus using this pattern. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. Now we've looked at how to play verse 1 and the chorus of Horse with No Name. The second and third verses are played the same way as the first, and the second and third chorus are played the same way as the first chorus. For the remainder of the song, you can use either of the 2 strumming patterns, or you can use our easy shortcut alternative of just the first 2 strings. As a reminder, you'll find links to the published recordings of all 3 of these songs down below in the video description. It can be helpful to listen to the recordings as you learn these songs. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson and learning 2 different patterns for each of these songs. As you learn new chords, remember to be patient with your left hand and give it time to build the muscle memory to learn the new chord fingerings. It will get easier over time, but start off nice and slow at first. Have fun practicing, and thank you for watching.